I do have in the studios with me Mr. Sibu Malambo, who is the Executive Director at ZYP. Mr. Malambo, thank you very much for making it to Prime TV. Welcome to Daybreak.
Thank you so much, Makokwa. And good morning.
First things first, tell us about the Zambia Youth Platform. What is this?
Okay, so the Zambian Youth Platform is a youth network. It's a network that brings together adolescents and young people, including youth organizations and different structures that work with young people. That is the composition of our membership. So it's currently the largest youth network in the country. We have membership of close to 200 youth groupings, as well as over 10,000 individual members dotted across the country. Yeah, so that is the youth platform itself.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when was this youth platform established, and why was there need to establish this particular platform?
Okay, firstly, it was established in 2015, 2015, and formally registered in 2016. The need to set up this platform really was to try and unify youth voices across the country. As you may be aware that most groupings around the country have some form of coordination structure. If you talk about women, there is NGOCC that you automatically think about. When you're talking about people living with HIV, there's NZP+. When you talk about persons with disabilities, again, there are all these different structures. But when it comes to young people, I think the need was very loud when you notice the fragmentation among young people. Even when you're talking about expressing yourselves on issues that affect young people, there'll be different voices. And if these voices are coming in silos, I think it's difficult to really deliver what you want. And even confuses those that are supposed to be responding, the key stakeholders, including government. I think it is confusing when there are different smaller voices whispering, and those are more like whispers. So the need really was to unify the youth voice so we can speak with one strong voice. When you're trying to push an agenda, if it is a problem, speak to the problem and recommend solutions. So that was really the need to try and unify the youth voices across the country. Yeah.
So tell us about the membership of this particular organization.
So our membership, as I mentioned, when you're talking about organizations, it's not just formal registered organizations. I think we have taken a route where we're also incorporating student unions. We have other community-based youth groupings who are members of the platform. But most of them, of course, are formally registered youth organizations in different parts of the country. Even in the hardest places to reach, we have youth organizations that are actively participating in the processes. When it comes to individuals, I think the need also to bring on board individuals to also join, because we realize it's not every young person across the country who is actually affiliated to an organization. So we also ensured that it's also open to individuals to actually be able to join. So for individual membership, we have over 10,000. Unfortunately, as of now, I'm not able to speak to the exact number of the individual membership, but it has been growing, especially in the recent past. Every time we advertise an event like the Indaba, for instance, which is something that is currently trending on all our platforms, our social media platforms and our website, we get a high increase in terms of young people that actually begin to register, and some of those that renew their membership, because membership for us is renewed every year. So if we spoke to membership last year, that would be a different picture. But membership as of this year, those that have been able to renew their membership, that is over 10,000. And in the recent past, the numbers have been increasing at a very, very fast rate, because we try to encourage young people that are registered members to participate in all the organized events, but also we prioritize registered and committed members when it comes to selection, because we have lots of young people that are interested in participating in different events that we hold.
Okay.
Throughout the year.
Now, how do youths or young people get registered with ZYP?
So we have tried to make it a bit much easier. We have host organizations in every province. There is an organization, excuse me, there's an organization that actually coordinates. And the main responsibility of this particular organization, each of the 10 provinces, is to, of course, mobilize membership, like membership drive. So they coordinate, they popularize the network within their province. And for those young people that are not able to register on our online platforms, then they can register through them. Pick up the registration forms, a very easy registration form where we get basic information and young people are able to apply. But then it goes further, where we have a small fee for like a subscription, which is not mandatory, of course, the first point is for young person to commit and be able to register. And from time to time, we open up for free membership. When we visit different provinces, especially in the hard-to-reach areas, where we'll be able to say, okay, so we're giving you 1 week to register for free. So other young people are able to register for free during that particular period. But now, in the recent past, we've made it even much easier. A young person can register online. On our website. You can become a member just there. So you fill in your form and submit it. So we have, in the initial phase, we had a way of trying to really vet who is who can be a member or not. But now I think the major qualification is to be if you're a young person, and also you might not necessarily be a young person, but if you're a young person at heart, an organization or somebody who leads youth groups and the like, and you want to affiliate, you can also affiliate to the organization. Yeah.
That was going to be my next question, actually. What is the age range like?
So there's no particular limit, except that we have categories. Even in terms of programming, our membership is categorized. For instance, we have adolescents. Adolescents is 10 to 19, so those are adolescents. And of course, beyond that, again, we have young people up to the age of 24. We have youth that goes up to the age of 35. And beyond 35, we still have members beyond the age of 35. These might belong to organizations, might be supporters, might be service providers, might be advocates from different walks of life.
Okay, so now what projects are you running as ZYP?
So as ZYP, we are running quite a good number of projects at the moment. And I must say, from the onset, that we pride ourselves to be the home of sustainable and inclusive adolescent and youth programming with a touch of innovation. Because most of our projects, I think, are born from innovation, like trying to innovate. So in terms of the projects we're running at the moment, let me start from the beginning. In 2018, because this is actually informing most of what we're doing at the moment. In 2018, we developed what we call the accountability framework, okay, for young people to actually be able to participate. So this again was informed by our major mandate. Our major mandate really is, as we're mobilizing all these young people that I've talked about, thousands of young people that we've mobilized, the aim is to try and see how we can support these young people across the country to meaningfully participate in decision making at different levels. So as a platform at the moment, I'm proud to say we are part of a number of decision making platforms in the country. We are part of the Global Fund Country Coordinating Mechanism, where we represent young people in that particular structure. We are part of the National AIDS Council Board. We represent young people again on that particular structure. We are part of the PEPFAR Civil Society Advisory Group. Again, we're representing young people there. The different technical working groups in the country, we're part of those. So the need for us to set up that particular accountability framework was informed by the fact that you may be given a platform to sit at the table and participate as a young person, but if you don't have data, you can't influence anything in this country, because people that sit around these tables have data, and for you to influence anything, you need information. Okay, so our first project was where we developed the accountability framework, which was to inform, to help young people participate in processes beyond just the formation. In most cases, most of these partners demand that you have young people as you're setting up a project proposal, for instance, for the country. So in most cases, you'll see young people being brought on board as rubber stamps. But for us, we wanted to change the narrative and ensure that young people are able to participate beyond the formation or the development of that particular proposal. They participate during implementation, during monitoring, and the like. So our first project was to develop that accountability framework, which was supported by the Global Fund themselves. And this has informed most of our projects. So at the moment, the projects we are running include, there's one that we are called the community-led monitoring, where we are supported by the US government through PEPFAR. In that particular project, we're implementing that one in Western Province. So all the districts in Western Province, we are collecting feedback from people living with HIV on the experiences around access to services, okay, from the health facilities. We're providing this feedback constantly to ensure that there is improvement in how these services are being delivered. And again, the aim for that is to ensure that we are on track in terms of our national HIV response. That is one of our projects. We're calling it the Western Community Accountability Project. We have our other project is supported by the GIZ backup from Germany. We're implementing this project again. It's a youth community accountability project, it's the young people themselves trying to track how services are being delivered, different services in this case, that young people are accessing from the different health facilities. We're implementing this in three districts. We have Solwezi, Limulunga, and Mazabuka. So young people are busy collecting this data, and this is informing our interactions at different decision-making levels. Our next project is supported by CHAS, by Global Fund, through CHAS, the Churches Health Association of Zambia, who are one of our long-time partners. So for the CHAS project, we're implementing in Southern Province, in Sinazongwe, Chikankata, and Choma. So in three districts. And in here, developing capacity of young people to actually be able to contribute to, apart from spreading information amongst themselves in terms of different services. The focus again is HIV. It's HIV heavy. Of course, we're incorporating sexual reproductive health in that. We're ensuring that young people are also participating in service delivery, where we are providing some mobile health services, taking services to the young people. Those that feel uncomfortable to walk to the facility, why not take their services to them? So that also is working very well. Our other project is supported by HIVOS. HIVOS have also been our long-term partners. They're supporting a project we're implementing in Livingstone. Okay, we're now in the second phase. We implemented the first one, where we were trying to enhance participation of young people in improving health service delivery in Livingstone. So there's HIVOS. We have another project supported by the Global Fund again, which is called the www.girls, Winning with Women and Girls. That one is, the focus really is to help develop capacity of adolescent girls and young women in decision making, especially around health related issues. So we have a team of adolescent girls and young women that are being mentored on that particular project. So that is also, we're implementing that one in Livingstone. So this is just among some of the projects that we're currently implementing in, around the country. But also we have, in the recent past, upon the realization that as much as across the globe we are making so much progress, and as far as the HIV response is concerned, the reductions are different in different ages, but among young people, adolescents and young people, it's a different picture. We're still seeing high infection rates for HIV among young people, adolescents and young people, and also we are seeing the numbers of AIDS-related deaths are still going up among adolescents and young people. So for us, that is telling us something, and something needs to be done. So from those kind of statistics, in the recent past, I think starting this year, somewhere in May, we partnered with the UNAIDS. So UNAIDS is supporting one of our new projects, one of our new initiatives. We're calling it the Youth Prevention Advocacy Campaign. So here, the focus is on HIV prevention. Of course, we are still integrating sexual reproductive health. So our first pilot on the Youth Prevention Advocacy Campaign was implemented in Copperbelt. On the Copperbelt, physical interactions on the Copperbelt, but it was online heavy. It was heavy online presence, where we did a number of campaigns there, online, message development, competitions, and young people were able to actually participate. The aim for us really is to ensure that we place young people at the center of the programming. Our firm belief is that when young people are at the center of this particular programming, they're innovating, they're responding to the problems that they're facing. We think that is very sustainable, because then it is this young person who is deciding what they think they can do. So it's very easy for them to actually do what they want to do, what they say needs to be done, and it's also cheaper for them to do it themselves. Unlike sit in a boardroom, come up with solutions, then employ someone to go and teach a young person on how to actually implement that particular behavior. As soon as that tap closes, where the resources are coming from to pay this individual, that initiative dies. But we think that young people driving their own response is very sustainable, and it's very cheaper. It can outlive any form of external support. Yeah, so that is our firm belief. And in all our programming, young people are at the center. When we're developing a concept, trying to think about how can we respond to this, young people are at the center. And even during implementation, majority of the people we have employed are below the age of 35. Yeah.
You did mention that you are working on the accountability framework in the Western Province. You did mention the WW Girls in Southern Province, and some other projects that you're running in Lusaka. Which other areas are you operating from apart from these three provinces?
So apart from the provinces that I've mentioned, we have other projects that we implement where we don't have a long-term presence in that particular province, but we still implement projects there. Like, I'll give an example of the Youth Community Advocacy Project, okay, which was our first phase with CHAZ, which was supported by the Churches Health Association of Zambia. This project was implemented across the country, and I think we're following through to still continue what we started in all these provincial centers and other close by districts around the particular area. So there are projects that we will go to a province and implement a project, get young people involved, orient them on what they're supposed to be doing, and again, led by the coordination office in that particular province, they are able to continue. When I talk about the accountability framework, it's a standard framework that we are using ourselves, an organization property, and we're using that. So the different provinces led by these organizations continue to collect data and evidence that feeds into our structures. And one of our key structures I should mention here is the National Youth Accountability Coalition. So this is another structure that we established, which brings together vibrant young people that sit at national level to provide input into different processes. If I'm going to, when I'm going to a meeting to represent the network on maybe the Global Fund Country Coordinating Mechanism, this group of young people is able to input in what we're supposed to be saying, okay, providing input. So the other provinces that are implementing our project around accountability are able to feed into this particular structure that then tries to map up our advocacy strategy. So that has been very, very instrumental to help us also maintain a presence across the country in different provinces, even provinces where we may not be running a long-term project, but we still have these initiatives running within those particular projects, which we support. We provide a little bit of support, and the other processes in the country ride on our presence there in these particular provinces. So one of the key projects, again, I forgot to mention, which I think also has been, it's been a good one in ensuring that we build capacity of young people, is one that has been supported by SAT, the SRHR Africa Trust. We're implementing this project in Choma, but also in Lusaka, because most of the interactions there within the project were advocacy oriented and meant to really influence the national level decisions. So for us, we may be implementing something in Livingstone, for instance, but the evidence generated from that particular project is meant to inform what we are discussing at national level. So it may not just influence a decision within that particular district, but it influences decision at national level. We have different structures, and what you've tried to do is not only collect evidence at district level and maybe operate there and leave it there. There are processes where some people sometimes are simply interested in collecting evidence, and at the end of the project you sit down, analyze, and then try to see how you can respond to the issues. But for us, our approach has been quite different, because we don't want a situation where we collect all this evidence. A year down the line, you analyze, and then you're talking about the statistics, and you still be looking at how many people have died or have lost their lives or were inconvenienced because you did not respond there and then. So what we're doing is, at different levels, we're also engaging and trying to respond to these issues. If it's at facility level, we have other initiatives that we put together. Like, for instance, we have an interface meeting where we bring young people interfacing with healthcare providers using our community scorecard. They're able to score and agree on how the performance is as a particular given area. within that particular facility and that particular service that they're discussing. So they agree, and they even agree on how they think they can improve that particular service area. And we work on ensuring that that is actually done. If it's not able to be done at facility level, we take it up to the district director's level, district health director. If it can be done there, it goes to the province. If it can be done there, if it can be changed, there's an issue of policy, then that's advocacy that we pick up as a platform, and we run with at national level to ensure that we see it to fruition. Working with other key partners at national level and key stakeholders, then we're able to put that on the table and highlight that this probably is something that needs to change. And our issues we don't just present problems. I think what we pride ourselves in also is the ability to provide solutions or propose what needs to be done, as opposed to what is currently prevailing. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Indaba. Give us a brief about this particular Indaba.
All right. So the Indaba initiative, let me start from the beginning. So in 2018, we held our first National Youth Conference, 2018, and we brought together over 300 young people from across the country. It was just a national conference. So within this national conference, there was a realization, because it was a very good conference, and to us it looked like it was the only space that was youth driven, which was initiated by young people, and young people decided who was going to speak, what they wanted that person to speak about, regardless of who they were. So young people were actually in the driving seat, they were in control. And from the feedback we got from that particular one, there was a need for us to continue convening such kind of grouping or an event to ensure that young people fully participate. It is an initiative that provides young people an opportunity to discuss their own problems, highlight what are the issues, and also propose solutions to these problems coming from themselves. As I said before, placing young people at the center of programming. That was 2018. 2019, we tried to make it a bit more specific, because in 2018 it was a bit more broad. We're not just focusing on health, there were a number of other themes that we focused on. So 2019, the realization that health issues were a bit more critical, because a healthy adolescent and young person will be able to live longer, and they'll be able to achieve anything. They can then enjoy education, they can enjoy everything else if they are healthy. So we focused more on health in 2019, and that is when we held the Regional Adolescent Health Indaba. We called it the RAHI in short. So 2019 we had the RAHI. We brought together 521 young people in total from across the country. And when we convened these young people, fortunately enough, we have very good and supportive partners. Ministry of Health is one of those that we have worked with very, very closely, and they've been super, super supportive. They've made our work very easy, and it's also, I think, based on the realization and the understanding that for us, whatever it is we do, even our accountability framework, it is never a fault-finding mechanism. For us, it's a feedback mechanism. So we've worked with Ministry of Health through the particular event that I'm talking about. We had UN agencies there. The National AIDS Council has been a super supportive partner as well. National AIDS Council, and just the various partners. I talked about HIVOS earlier, so the US government through PEPFAR. So these key partners are in this event, where they're listening to the young people's voices, listening to what challenges young people are facing, and also listening to the solutions that young people are proposing on how best they can respond to some of those solutions, some of those challenges. A good example I'll give you is where we have a gap in the facilities on sign language. We have a number of Zambians with disabilities. Some of those have hearing impairments, and we have a situation in health facilities we don't have any sign language interpreter. So at the RAHI in 2019, we had one of the key events was an expert panel discussion featuring young people who are deaf, who are expressing themselves on what are the challenges they're facing in accessing health services and health information. They were highlighting how it's difficult to actually go to a facility and access the service easily. They need to have somebody else accompany them every time. If the person is unavailable, they can't access the service. There was a barrier. And also they spoke to the issues of, even when you look at TV, yes, news, we have sign language interpreter, but when you're giving out messages, sometimes they're just verbal and they're not able to follow. So already proposing certain solutions instantly. Like one of the solutions was, can we always just ensure that there are subtitles? When this person is speaking, we're able to read. Those people that go around to announce there'll be Child Health Week and all that, you don't consider the deaf, because if I'm deaf, I'll not be able to hear your announcement, and as a result, my children might not, or my siblings might not be able to access the service that you're trying to promote. So there were solutions also being proposed and set, and fortunately, I mean, Ministry of Health is always proactive. They were proactive, they responded to those particular issues and made commitments on what they thought could be done. That was 2019. In 2020, one of the realizations was that there were a lot of young people innovating in different spaces, especially around the region, in the SADC region, to be specific. And 2020 was around the time when we had the new SADC Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights strategy that goes up to 2030. So this strategy also, in a huge way, is a very progressive strategy, and it's also a lot more youth-facing. So we wanted to highlight that, and because it's SADC oriented, we turned the RAHI into the RAHI, which is the Regional Adolescent Health Indaba, which is the same thing we're talking about now for this particular year. So that brought together also young people from other countries that were able to share the different innovations, different things that they're doing. The idea really was to shine a light on these innovations by young people, to also ensure that we influence people that have the resources to try and see how we can actually be able to implement these innovations at scale, to respond to some of the problems, because young people kept on innovating and they continue innovating and innovating. I think time should come when somebody somewhere is able to believe in these particular young people, put in an investment, and see how these innovations can be taken to scale. So for this year, we are continuing with the RAHI, the Regional Adolescent Health Indaba, and this year's still has the SADC picture, and it might go slightly beyond SADC because there's some innovations that we are seeing from other countries, for instance like Nigeria, that would like to shine a light on and see how we can actually begin to learn from the other countries also around the region. So we are looking at a high focus this year in terms of our theme will be around closing the tap of new HIV infection through meaningful youth participation and innovation. So we are focusing more on that, but of course we are bringing in the aspects of the sexual reproductive health and rights aspect, because it is key to HIV prevention. Those services are key, and ensuring that every young person in all diversity is able to enjoy the access to services and enjoy their rights, their sexual rights. I think that's very important. So we have that focus now, but also the other highlight, what we'll be doing during this particular event, will be to ensure that we bring young people up to speed in terms of the new global strategy, the new global AIDS strategy driven by UNAIDS, which informs everything we're doing across the globe around HIV response. So we'll be bringing that to the young people and highlighting what are the opportunities for young people within this particular strategy. So from that perspective, we'll also be sharing the Global Fund new strategy that is also being developed currently. I think it should be finalized soon. So again, we're bringing that to the young people to make sure we see where the opportunities lie, but also to try and agree at the end of it all, what role should the young people be playing within the implementation of this particular strategy, because they inform everything we're doing around HIV. HIV still remains a key issue across the globe, and for us in Zambia, I think it's also affecting us in a huge way. Most of the figures I mentioned earlier on around young people that are living with HIV, the newly infected every day, every year, majority of those, unfortunately, are within SADC.
So where and when will this particular Indaba be held? The
Indaba is scheduled for 16th of November to the 18th. It's a 3-day adolescent health Indaba to be held here in Lusaka. Unfortunately, I'm not able to confirm the venue yet. We are yet to complete or conclude the procurement processes. But for now, what we know to be held here in Lusaka, with about 9 other countries participating in the Indaba. They have confirmed participation. We have great speakers this year and some excellent young people who will be sharing their innovations. So we're hoping that more and more partners will actually come on board to come and actually, if you can't support, just come and listen in to what young people are proposing. So this year's is an exciting one. I'm very, very excited myself. I've been to a number of them, And this year, looking at the COVID cases are also going down. So we're hoping that we can actually be able to go back to our usual numbers of bringing together more young people. We're planning for about between 400 and 500 young people. And of course, we'll also have other virtual participants in these different countries. There will be organizations hosting young people there that will join in virtually, and some of them will be able to share. So at the end of the day, we'll have thousands of young people participating in the Indaba. And I mean, thankfully, we have our usual partners who are already coming on board to try and see how they can support to ensure that we are able to succeed in implementing this Indaba. Ministry of Health is one of them. We have, we're hoping HIVOS will still on board to try and see how they can support this year's Indaba. UNAIDS, our all-weather partner. And of course, we have AFRIAN at regional level, as well as Southern African, HR Africa Trust. So these are our regular partners that I'm sure will still be on board this year to support and to ensure that the Indaba is a success, like always.
Okay. Now, as we come to the end of this interview, Sibu, what are your concluding remarks?
So, in conclusion, I think for me, I just want to urge young people across the country and those that are young at heart, those that are supporting young people, to be part of this network, to be part of the Zambian Youth Platform. Let's register, let's add the numbers so the voice is even much more stronger. For those that may not be aware of our existence, now you know. So I think it's important for us to add to those numbers. So I'd like to encourage, the starting point I think is to like our Facebook page, the Zambian Youth Platform, and then also visit our website. You can register for membership right there. Yeah, and for partners that are listening, that could be listening to this particular interview, one thing for sure is that this year we're also providing an opportunity for partners to come and showcase what they're doing, whether you are a business or you are just an NGO. There is an opportunity for you to come and showcase exactly what you're doing. Sell yourself to the young people of Zambia. I think we know how powerful young people are in this country. They can change anything and they can deliver anything they want. So I think that is where the marketplace will be for whoever wants to reach out to the young people across the country. The marketplace will be at the Indaba. That's the place to be.
Sibu, we'd like to thank you very much for making an appearance on Prime Daybreak.
Thank you so much. I'm very delighted you invited us.
We have been speaking to Zambian Youth Platform Executive Director Sibu Malambo, and we were just discussing the issue of the Indaba that will be held somewhere in November right here in Lusaka. And we hope that we continue to interact with this particular organization, especially on issues relating to the youth.